everyone. I wanted to post a video about how I was able to conceive twice at my age. I am a little over 39 and a half. I'm actually at this point closer to 40. I turned 39 back in July, and it was the second cycle my husband and I actually tried. I had been charting since about November of 2019, but we didn't actually start trying until around July. July was really the cycle that we genuinely tried. So I wanted to talk about a few different things that I've been doing differently to help try to conceive. I did conceive in August. So it was the second cycle that him and I tried, and I noticed a few different things about my body while I was learning about this process. We did lose my daughter at 16 weeks through a missed miscarriage. As a result of that, I've also been changing a few different things that I've been doing. I don't know if it'll ever make any difference, because the sad part about losing my daughter is there was no reason. Her heart just stopped beating, and I caught it pretty quickly because I am just one of those people. I tend to worry. I've always been like that ever since I was a kid. So it's not something that I think is ever going to change about me. And in adulthood, I always say that I'm just my own advocate, because it can be very easy to get lost in the shuffle if you have a history like I do. Because everybody will kind of look at my history and say, oh, no major medical problems, and you've had 4 healthy full-term children, so you don't need us. You'll get pregnant right away and everything. And here's the difference. Time doesn't stop. So I'm still getting older. I'm certainly not what I was 20 years ago. No, I don't like that answer, and I don't like it when doctors approach me like that. The flip side is I've also learned in pediatrics, because I have such a huge gap between my oldest and my youngest. Some of the doctors are sometimes like, hey, we don't need to tell you all this because you know it already. Okay, well, yes, I understand and appreciate your respect for my journey and what I've gone through, but there's still also a lot of information that has happened over the past 20 years. So I don't mind them sharing the information. Long story short, I need to feel like I'm an advocate for myself. So if it's being proactive and trying to reduce the time to pregnancy, then I want to do that. And I don't think anybody should fault me for that. I mean, yeah, I totally could just be like, okay, yeah, we have no reason to believe that we'll have a problem. Let's just see what happens. And some people can do that, but I'm not like that. And I know who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. Another benefit of being older, and I'm just going to own it. So anyhow, I do have a few notes, and basically I started doing these things before I even had a loss, because you see all this age-related propaganda, and when you do get pregnant, they say it's a geriatric pregnancy. So I'm like, okay, I want to stack the odds in my favor, because if I go online, I hear about how I'm at higher risk for this, higher risk for that. And I want to have the healthiest pregnancy possible. So I found this book called It Starts with the Egg, and I think I finished reading that within like the first few days. And I figured, since I'm 39, I would start with the most aggressive game plan. So I have been taking supplements. One of the ones that I'm very careful about is DHEA. And I didn't take what the box says to, because back in June, I did a modern fertility test to test my hormone levels. My AMH at just a month before I turned 39 was 2.6. So I had, my hormones look great. So I didn't really want to do too much, but I did still want to improve my overall egg quality, because even if you have great hormone levels and everything, your egg quality could still potentially not be so great. So instead of the 25 milligrams 3 times a day, I was taking 25 milligrams 2 times a day, and I've never gone above that, haven't had any side effects, and that seems to have worked for me. I also took ubiquinol. I took that 3 times a day. Iron, I am anemic, so this is one that I specifically take, and unknowingly this may have helped when I was conceiving my son, who's now almost 2. I took iron because I was a blood donor, and so I was taking iron so that I could donate blood. And that was just a personal thing for me, where I like to donate blood because I want to have a healthy hemoglobin, and it gave me sort of a incentive, and a feeling of helping others. But whenever you go to donate blood, they test your cholesterol, they test your hemoglobin, everything, and then at the same time, you have a chance to help save up to 3 lives. I also took baby aspirin this past go around. I did not take it when I was pregnant with Elena, nor did I take it to get pregnant with her. I took vitamins E and I took vitamin C, R-lipoic acid, N-acetylcysteine, omega-3s, and vitamin D. This go around, now that I've gotten a positive pregnancy test, I am not taking the R-lipoic and the N-acetylcysteine. I've been taking those supplements, and I can show a screenshot of, the frequency and how often, and I'll also show you the actual supplements that I'm taking so you can see and link them. But those I can definitely tell have helped. This time, getting pregnant has been the longest time I've taken DHEA. I started taking it about a week after I lost Elena, because they say DHEA takes about 6 to 8 weeks minimum to start making any difference. When I was taking DHEA previously, I took it for like 2 weeks and then I was pregnant. So I don't think I got any benefit out of it, really. So the supplements, I believe, do help. I am still going to talk to my OB about what supplements I should continue to take now that I am pregnant. But I did stop a majority of them. Right now, I'm only taking vitamin C, the baby aspirin, iron, the vitamin D, the omegas, and a prenatal now. And I'm taking a different prenatal than what I was taking when I was trying to conceive. Another thing is hydration. I started drinking a gallon of water a day back in May of last year. And let me tell you, that has been the biggest thing I've noticed as far as a change in my fertility. Before I started drinking a gallon of water a day, my ovulation date was around day 20 to day 17. My cycles have always been about 28 days. So I was following another YouTuber. She's a homeopath, and she mentioned that the day you ovulate can also be an indication as to your fertility. So if you ovulate really early, the egg might not quite be mature enough. But then if you ovulate really late, that means your body's really trying to, get ready to ovulate. And so day 20 on, the egg may not be as optimal. That's not to say that if you ovulate and it's on day 20 or whatnot, that, it's not going to turn into a viable, healthy pregnancy. My oldest son, who's now 16, back when I was 22, I ovulated on day 20, and clearly he's a very healthy boy, no problems growing up. And he was even in the gifted and talented program when he was in elementary school. So don't let the day you ovulate affect how you feel about your pregnancy. I do in my sense, because I've noticed how different things that I do in my path to pregnancy affect my ovulation date. So taking DHEA and drinking a lot of water. This past cycle was the first time that I even came close to ovulating around day 14. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, the egg must be really good. Fingers crossed that that's the case. Anyhow, drinking a gallon of water a day, it can seem like a lot. And trust me, after about 7 months of me doing this, I've gotten used to it. I have a big hydro flask that I just make sure I drink 3 of them every day. And I set certain time reminders for myself. Like by 10 o'clock, I should be done with the first 40 ounces. By 3 o'clock, if I finish this second one by 3 o'clock, then I'm on track. And then by dinner time, if I'm done with the third one, then I'm done. And I'm not waking up, all night going to the bathroom. And I've heard from numerous fertility specialists that just simply hydration, it's so important for your cells and your overall fertility. Diet. In conceiving Elena, I cut out alcohol. I really only have like the occasional glass maybe once a month, if that. So I definitely did cut out alcohol. I've replaced it for like, if I do want to have something, I don't deprive myself, but that's no longer the focus of what I do. I used to be really big into, like wine and food pairings, and I've just switched it up. So I also cut back a lot on caffeine this time. I switched to decaf, but I've heard that the toxins in the process of making decaf or just toxins within the decaf coffee itself are just not good for you. So I just this past month cut that out, and I switched to a tea that I really like. It's actually from Scotland, but I get it on Amazon for like $12, and it's like for $48. And tea has honestly replaced my morning coffee habit. And I thought it would be really challenging, but it hasn't. I can get local honey, and it's like a little indulgence and sweet. So instead of coffee, I just have tea. And there's a whole variety of teas that you can try that, can sort of address the whole caffeine kick. Last but not least, stress management. I cannot stress this enough. In July, when my husband and I were trying to conceive, I had everything, like my body was ready to ovulate and everything, but then we had a stressful event happen. Multiple stressful events between life demands or family conflicts or this or that or anything. And it was, we were fine, my husband and I, but it was stressful. And I can see it in my chart. And in fact, I'll probably show it on screen where it just looks like my body geared up to ovulate. And then because of the stressful event, it didn't quite. And so when I look at the chart and we didn't succeed that month, I'm thinking, okay, that tells me that, the whole hormonal balance is very sensitive. And I think that as you get older, you're even more sensitive to stress. So that's what I chalk it up to as far as why we weren't successful that month. And then we conceived the next month. We took different steps and different measures so that we weren't stressed the next go around. And we conceived our daughter. And genetically, she was completely healthy. There was nothing wrong. I do have to say this time, I will definitely take more measures to manage stress throughout my pregnancy, because we thought, okay, we're pregnant. Let's, go back to however we were before. And I really think you need to stay, focused on proper stress management, eating healthy and everything. Because after the first trimester, I started going back to drinking caffeine. And my husband and I, we were stressed. We had just bought a house, we moved. It was just a really stressful time. And then he went off to a school like immediately after we finished moving the last box in. So I'm pregnant, still dealing with morning sickness, and also unpacking a house while taking care of a toddler who likes to get into everything. And I noticed that my husband's and my communication was starting to falter just as a result of all the stress. And he kind of brushed it off, and he was honest about this later, that, he just kind of, said, it was just, we were strong, we could handle it. And I'm like, babe, this is not like our relationship is not something to try to put through, I don't know, a test of the Olympians or anything. No, you have to have lots of recovery time and recuperation to build and foster a strong foundation, because the really stressful times will come up and they will be unexpected, and you have to have that strong foundation to support you guys. So, and then COVID happened and my husband tested positive, and that was another stress because we were trying to quarantine him. And I was nervous, and so it made us more, because of the stressful events, it made us more likely to have more stressful events. And we were not managing it well. We weren't communicating great. And the final thing was, we had a very stressful event on November 8th. And I was a wreck. I was crying. I was emotional. I was, and then that night I tried to hear her heartbeat. And usually I can find the baby's heartbeat right away. I know how to find baby's heartbeats at 8 weeks, and no big deal. I've never had that happen before. And so then when I couldn't find it, and I couldn't find it for 2 hours, and I was trying to talk myself into, it's okay, it's okay. I was trying to talk myself into thinking, okay, it's okay. I mean, I've freaked out about a lot of things in the past. It's probably okay. This time it wasn't. And I'll get into another story about that, but I cannot emphasize enough stress management. So then when we lost her, I realized that, and I was like, in my healing process, I knew I wanted to have another baby, and I wasn't going to be able to have another baby if I stayed in bed all day and just wallowed away in misery. That's where I'm like, okay, I gotta go back to square one. And square one is making sure that I'm healthy. And where does health start? It starts by being hydrated. It starts by making sure your body has the proper nutrients. I knew I had lost a lot of blood from losing my daughter. And so I focused on that. And about a week after I had lost Elena, I started taking the DHEA. I started taking the supplements. I made sure I was drinking a gallon of water a day, whether I felt like it or not, because I'm telling you, I did not feel like it. So, and the hardest part for me was the weight to try to get my body back to normal. I did not ovulate at all that first month. So I didn't ovulate in November at all. I got my cycle back December 10th. And then I ovulated on Christmas Day. And that cycle didn't take, but it was also a weird cycle because I spotted at really weird times throughout that month. So I feel like my body was still trying to release some of the pregnancy tissue. I got my cycle again, January 7th. And by this time I had been on the DHEA and supplements for about 8 weeks now. And then I had a saline ultrasound a few days, on cycle day 6. So overall, I've been on that process of healing when I got the saline ultrasound done, I got the all clear to officially try again. My husband and I were trying before then, but now we actually have the doctor's okay. And she said everything looked good. There was no scarring, no polyps, no fibroids. And I ovulated. I started getting ovulation cramps on January 20th. And I confirmed the temperatures on January 21st. So depending on what app I use, I ovulated January 20th or January 21st. So if you're trying to conceive and you're in your late 30s, those are the things I would recommend. And definitely pick up a copy of It Starts with the Egg. And if you want to be really proactive in trying to reduce the amount of time to pregnancy, then do that. If you want to relax and, see what happens, totally do that too. So if you are over 35 and you're trying to conceive, get your hormones tested. I highly recommend Modern Fertility for doing just a baseline hormone test. And then do what you can. There are natural ways that you can try to increase your chance to pregnancy. And good luck to you guys. I hope you follow us along on this journey. I don't know where this journey will take us, but we'll see.